It's time to get all set for Sunday, a podcast for busy and distracted Catholics with your hosts, Scott Williams and Jeff Traylor.
When I hear the coffee brewing, I think, what the heck we doing? Because I got barely any sleep last night. As the diaper bag I pack with Hot Wheels dollies and some snacks, I say a prayer there'll be a seat in the crime room this time. It's alright, cause I'm all set for Sunday. It's alright, cause I'm all set for. It's alright, cause I'm all set for. It's alright, cause I'm all set for Sunday.
But you start.
Welcome to All Set for...
Your chair's moved, that's why.
What's going on?
Because we recorded the last episode just the two of us, so.
Just the two of us.
I'll be all right. Welcome to all... Everybody ready now?
Yeah. Do a good one.
Hey, welcome to all... Like that?
Very radio.
Leave it all in, Sam. Just leave it all.
I agree. This is authentic.
Welcome to All Set for Sunday, a podcast for busy and distracted Catholics to be a little more prepared. Un poquito más preparado for... Let's just start over. Welcome
Sábado.
to...
Not Sunday.
Sábado is Sunday.
Yeah.
Welcome to All Set for Sunday, a
Misa.
podcast for busy and distracted
Misa.
Catholics to be a little more prepared for Sunday Mass. My name is Scott Williams. My co-host is Jeff Traylor. Hey, Jeff.
Hola. That's the extent of my Spanish.
Father Andy Syberg, how are you?
I'm doing grand. How are you doing?
I'm so good today. Always excited to have you into the studio. Have you been here before?
I have.
Like in the studio?
I've been here once or twice.
Okay.
I think it's very nice.
It's always better. These are always more fun, and like selfishly, I just always enjoy it when you guys come visit. But
There's
were
more
just-
Jews.
You were just asking
Yes.
whether or not we did video, so I wasn't sure had you been in the studio.
No, I had been.
Because I
but
feel like you would know that we did video if you had been in this.
have you ever turned on any portion of our podcast? at
Yes,
all?
I have. And you
Ooh.
can tell for sure in studio and like over the internet.
Yeah.
Mhm.
It's wildly different.
Yeah.
And I usually do it over the internet. So I finally listened to one of them like, that sounds terrible. Not terrible. I mean, you guys do, you do fine. But
No, it does sound terrible. Rarely, I'm not saying that priests don't follow directions or read instructions, but
that's what he's saying 100%.
often our priests are not prepared with like proper headphones or anything like that. They just like put their computer open and are like, let's rip.
Yeah,
So let's
irregardless.
rip.
Irregardless, that's good.
Irregardless,
Yeah.
it is definitively better
We're here
in
now.
the studio.
Yeah.
We're
Even
here
if it's the
now.
best content, best preacher, best everything, still better in the studio over
Yeah.
the Zooms.
I
all right.
agree.
Well, I'm glad we got that out.
Yeah, we did it. But thank you for being here. We
Now,
do
who
appreciate
knows?
it.
I might not come ever again.
Yeah. You might not be invited again. You never know how that's going to
Whoa.
go, but you're going to be invited again. You've probably
you are.
actually already been invited again, but
I need to check my emails.
You look good today. Have you
Yeah.
been losing weight?
I've been trying.
Yeah.
It's sometimes hard at the seminary. People don't bring salads.
Mm-hmm.
bring salads to the seminary.
Bring salads to the seminary. Like tonight, we're having brats and dogs and this thing called cowboy beans, which are awesome.
Yeah.
I don't
Is it
know what
just-
all's in them, but they are delicious. They're
Is
a
it
meal
like-
unto themselves, and that's a side for us.
Yeah. Isn't it just like baked beans and chunks of
There's like chunks of all
bacon
sorts of
and
different meat
brisket
and
and-
all that
yeah.
stuff. It's like they were clearing off the butcher's counter, just right into the beans. It's lovely.
Would everybody be pretty excited if we did like salads on Saturday at the seminary?
Nobody would be happy about it. We would eat it, and then we'd like run over to Chick-fil-A or something.
My food spoon.
Let's do it. Let's show up. We'll just hey, we're providing dinner. Everyone's all excited. I've heard about this. They do donuts and stuff. We show up and like, hey, mixed greens, everyone.
Mixed greens, fellas. Maybe some kale. You remember when kale was like huge,
Yeah.
and then people like got wise and stopped eating it?
Well, kale used to just be like what decorated the salad bar at Pizza Hut.
Yeah, you might as
It
well
was
like
just
go
like
chip
around the pizzas.
bark off of the tree.
I remember
Just
reading
not
one
that.
time that kale, the number one buyer of kale in the country for like 40 years was Pizza Hut.
Oh,
'Cause
this
they
is
would-
for real?
Yes, because they would pile it around their like the like salad bar and like make it added greenery to like
I have
salad
the
bars
memory,
and stuff.
yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, speaking of green things, we recently got a letter from our homeowners association.
Ooh, what'd you do?
This is one of my things. You're not supposed to see the trash cans from the street. Do you know what I'm talking about?
Yeah.
I would think that would prove problematic for the guys who come pick up your trash.
So you're allowed to on trash day,
but where you store your trash cans cannot be
the
visible.
anticipation of trash day. So between 4 p.m. the night before, I guess, and trash day the next day, which the next day could be all day because that's the way we do it in the Catholic Church.
The things we choose to care about.
Catholic trash day.
But we store them on the side of the house because our garage isn't all that big, and we like garage things to be in the garage, trash cans. And I walked around the neighborhood the other day. We don't have that big, maybe 100 houses. I counted 7 different houses that also have their trash cans on the side of the house that I could see from the street. So 7% of residents are in violation. But here's my thought. What if I got like fake boxwood, like you would see like on a wall, and draped it on the outside of my trash can and made it look like a bush? Good idea or bad idea?
Well,
can you just build like an enclosure?
I don't want to though.
Yes, but
I want to make it look like a bush.
They sent you a letter. You're in trouble. What does that mean? Like, are you going to be punished?
I don't know. They could put a lien on my house, I guess.
They can.
No, they can't.
Yes, my wife talks about this all the time. Homeowners associations are one of the most powerful like municipal tools in the country. They have the ability to actually put a lien on your property. HOAs are like crazy powerful.
I also thought about just like vinyl wrapping my trash cans, but then I was worried that they wouldn't pick them up.
What if you rallied the neighborhood?
That's what I mean. Like make it look like a bush. That's what I want to happen. I want to make my trash cans look like bushes.
What if you rallied the neighborhood and got like 90 people to put their cans out?
There's not that many houses.
What are they going to do?
There's 90. You just said there's 100 houses. You could do it.
Okay.
I mean,
but honestly, if you could rally that much of the neighborhood behind it, you could actually just overturn. You could change your HOA policy. But
why do you have why do they exist?
HOAs?
I kind of like them a lot.
Yeah, they're helpful when they're not annoying you. They're pretty helpful in like keeping your neighborhood looking nice and
broken down cars.
Yeah. I did recently watch a fantastic.
I'm glad we don't have a homeowners association at Brute. They would shut us down.
I mean, you are the homeowners association. Like, you never have to say to the guys like, "Hey, your room stinks. You have to clean it," or like, "You can't let your laundry flow out into the hallway here," or anything like that.
I do say those things.
Are we recording, Scott? Are you checking? No, I recently saw a thing where a homeowners association cited a house, but it turned out that house was like one property outside of the neighborhood, and it made this guy really mad because he's not in the HOA, but he got cited by it.
Mm-hmm.
So he then proceeded to like get the HOA policies and violated every single HOA policy in his yard because they couldn't do anything about it. I mean, like,
that seems
pieces of plywood laying out. Yeah, it was way over the top, but it was funny.
Well, let's talk about the HOA
of the Gospels
of the house of the Lord.
Oh,
preach.
About that too.
No money changers. He's going to write a letter this time. It'll be reviewed at our monthly meeting.
They called it a courtesy letter. It's very courteous of them.
It was kind of them. Yeah. What's the next letter called?
Eviction.
A discourteous letter.
You can no longer sell your house letter.
It's ours. Go ahead and sell it. We get
I
it.
can't believe they have that much authority.
It's crazy. Yes. Anyway. All right. We're ready.
Mm-hmm.
Speaking of the house of the Lord, 33rd Sunday. It's Jesus Sunday.
Oh.
33rd Sunday in ordinary time. We start with our first reading is from Daniel. Dang, Daniel. Daniel is prophesying about a time of great distress, unlike any before. But he assures that those whose names are written in the book will be delivered. That if your name is written, and he speaks of the resurrection, where someone will awaken to everlasting life, and some will awaken to everlasting life, others to shame and everlasting contempt. Everlasting contempt is a pretty extreme concept, and I'm not a fan. The wise and those who lead others to righteousness will shine brightly, though, like the stars forever.
The text says everlasting horrors and disgrace. That might even be worse.
Yeah,
AKA hell.
That's
got it. Summary.
for those of you
Everlasting
keeping
hell.
track at home. He's talking about hell. Got it.
Cool.
It's like a perpetual homeowners association. That's what it is.
Hot take. Elizabeth and I love going to homeowners association meetings. It is a sight to see.
Yeah.
Like, bring your popcorn.
The entertainment value is through the roof.
My wife and I, when we were young and we had more free time, we would occasionally go to the city county council meeting.
Oh man,
Really fun because you can just get up and say things. Anyone who goes.
what up? This is Chad.
Yeah.
Chad Kroger.
Yeah, but anyone can attend them and they're a lot of fun. We should do it as a date night with you guys some night. We all go to the city council meeting.
I would love that.
I know. Let's do it. And then just get up and like you and I just bet each other what we'll get up and talk about.
Mm-hmm.
I have some because they open it to comments on whatever they're discussing.
Can you go if you're not a resident?
And you just have to go through security to get in. That'd be well, we could go to ours, but
We don't live in a city.
we can go to our county council meeting.
That would be even more of a riot.
I know.
All
Let's
right,
do it.
sorry.
All right.
Second
Anyway,
reading. Hebrews.
responsorial psalm.
Oh yeah.
Responsorial psalm. You are my inheritance, O Lord. I'm going banger. Like,
Prove it.
huh?
Prove it.
Prove what?
What makes it a banger?
I think it's a banger. I can hear this. I'm not going to sing it, but yeah. I mean, this is one I recognize. Maybe that's what I go with. Maybe that's my threshold.
Our banger threshold is diminishing.
I recognize it. Yes.
Well, you
I've
guys,
seen those
I
words
think your
before.
thresholds in lots of areas are dropping as you're talking about entertaining yourselves by going to a city council. Like there are other ways
You have
that
never
fun.
been.
County council meeting.
What?
Sir,
Oh, excuse.
You should go to a city
Back
council
up.
meeting.
I'm sorry.
I'm going to go to a city council meeting. They're public. They're on TV too. So maybe you can watch. And I'm going to complain about that castle over on
On Cold Spring
yeah,
Road.
on Cold Spring
Place is
Road.
an eyesore.
Yeah. I'm talking about the mental hospital over there. Not LaRue Carter across the street, but that castle that all those seminarians are living in.
Now
Anyway.
the second reading.
The second reading from Hebrews. So in the letter to the Hebrews, we hear this compare and contrast between the repetitive sacrifices that are offered by priests, which can never fully take away the sins, but then the perfect sacrifice of Christ. So here the priests are doing all these different sacrifices, but they can never truly heal us, but Christ in his perfect sacrifice has one sacrifice. By offering himself for all, he made believers holy and perfected them through his sacrifice. And since sins are now forgiven through Christ's ultimate offering, there's no need for all those additional sacrifices to be made. And then our gospel reading. Our gospel today comes from Mark
The Lions.
chapter 13, 24 to 32. Jesus said to his disciples, in those days after that tribulation, the sun will be darkened, and the moon will not give its light, and the stars will be falling from the sky, and the powers in the heavens will be shaken. And then they will see the Son of Man coming in the clouds with great power and glory. And then he will send out the angels and gather his elect from the four winds, from the end of the earth to the end of the sky. Learn a lesson from the fig tree. When its branch becomes tender and sprouts leaves, you know the summer is near. In that same way, when you see these things happening, know that he is near at the gates. Amen, I say to you, this generation will not pass away until all these things have taken place. Heaven and earth will pass away, but my words will not pass away. But of that day and hour, no one knows, neither the angels in heaven nor the Son, but only the Father.
Thanks, Joe.
Thank you. Oh, you're welcome. Sorry. That's what I should have said.
You're welcome. Father, did Jeff get anything wrong?
No.
Not a thing?
Thank you.
We're getting down to it. 2 weeks of ordinary time. The
Yeah.
liturgical year is rapidly coming to a close, and so
I know, because my book, I'm getting to the
we
very
are
end of my
getting
book.
treated to get yourself ready, get yourself prepared,
We're preparing to be prepared
because it's going to get wild.
in Advent.
Well, Advent, yeah, but just like what he's talking about here, like the end times. Wild.
The
Wild
eschatology.
stuff. The eschaton, yes. So this comes from
Eschatological is one of my favorite Catholic words.
Yes.
Mhm.
This comes from like chapter 13 in Mark, I think you said, which is like
Sounds right. Yes, 13.
it's called the eschatological discourse. 14 or 15 are the passion, and then 16 is resurrection, ascension, and that's it. So Mark is about
Resurrection, ascension, blah, 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 blah.
No,
But yeah, this is the eschatological discourse. This is not the only time that Jesus talks about that, but
What's eschatological?
it means the end of things.
Mhm.
It's like the end times.
Mhm.
And
The study of the end time.
and it's the last four things: death, judgment, heaven, hell. And yeah, you got to think about those things sometimes. The fact that you're going to die and you're going to stand before the throne,
Memento mori.
and all facades and lies and hypocrisies and all that bull crap we kind of encase ourselves. It all just comes, sloughing off, and the gaze of the judge is going to be like, "Meow." And all
Can't
of,
wait for that video.
and all of you, like all of that's going to be revealed, and you're going to be, as Guardini says, completely yourself as you have fashioned yourself before the Lord. And
Who's this Gordini guy?
Romano Guardini, he's a theologian, 20th century, wrote a lot of stuff. His best book, the most well-known book,
Sounds like
It's
a killer
called-
sandwich shop.
it's called The Lord. Francis Benedict and John Paul were all like big fans of his.
His book's called The Lord.
It's called The Lord. I like, if you're looking for like a good scripture, like he's good.
Wait, that sounds also like you don't often hear the phrase 20th century theologian. That like caught me as I was like, oh, that's like modern. That's like
They're
much
out there.
more cool.
They're out there. And he just has like an interesting way of writing. I love the way he writes about things, the way he describes things. Like he talks about the Beatitudes, and he's like, these are cosmic divine truths that shatter our perceptions of reality. Like that's like the way he talks about things. But he talks about these end times, and it's just like, look at this is gonna happen, and you don't want to get too wrapped up into like when it's gonna happen and when it's gonna happen. Jesus is like warn people like beware of false prophets and things like that. But there's a tribulation that's going to take place before the end, where we as the church militant, like we fight against the forces of evil and the enemies of Christ, and then Christ will come, and then we'll be the church triumphant, and hopefully we won't be left to the winds. The angels just come swooping past us, and go pick up somebody else, I guess. Probably the head of the homeowners association.
True
Get you
angel.
guys
We're
in
doing
here
God.
first.
They're doing God's work right there, apparently.
The last shall be first. You guys are in. Come on.
But yeah, I mean, this is just the trajectory of the scriptures right now. It happens every year, moves us towards thinking.
On purpose.
Yes, I mean, there's a reason why this is happening.
So don't worry about this is happening, but be ready. Don't worry about when or how,
If the Lord comes tomorrow, then the Lord comes tomorrow.
but we should be ready today.
If you knew that you were going to die tomorrow, that would change the way you think about things. But would it be as authentic if you didn't know? I don't know. I don't think it would.
That's a real good, people say that all the time, right? We're challenged in scripture to live every day like it's your last. People say that, but I like that statement of but would it be as authentic? Is it the real you? If you know,
because what was it? The one guy, the master is late in coming. And so he just starts getting drunk and beating his maidservants and manservants and all this stuff. And it's just like, what is wrong with you? Okay, you're a psycho. But anyways, he shows up and he's busted. And then the 10 virgins, the 5 of them don't have oil. And the bridegroom shows up late. And it's just like, where you been, man? The wedding, I don't like his timing maybe, but he's going to show up whenever he wants to show up. And you do have to be ready for that. And to just say give me 5 more minutes. Yeah, no, I don't think so. But if you were going to die tomorrow, what would you say to people? What would you not say to people? Would you get one last jab in? You hope not, but shouldn't we just be doing that anyways? Probably. Memento mori.
Yeah.
Remember death.
What should we do to live in that, like in that balance though? Like what?
Oh, so it doesn't become like morbid or macabre or something like that?
Yeah, but at the same time, like, what are good practices to help us live in that reality?
So that you're doing the things you need to do. I mean, this is where you really do kind of get into, like, Jesus says it at the end. There's like, heaven and earth will pass away, but my words will not pass away. So, like, he's telling you, people who persecute you, like, being charitable, being merciful, doing like the regular everyday things of life is actually what you're supposed to do. Like the prosaic details of everyday life and doing them with charity.
Mhm.
I'm doing things because I love the Lord, not for anything else. And if we're growing in these things, like prayer is deepening, our relationship with Jesus is deepening. And so there really is no concern. Like when we die, we're probably going to face it one of two ways. Either I get to meet the Lord, or I got to go meet the Lord, like trepidation or like excitement. But it really is like lay down this, like Jesus just lays down this path of discipleship and like pick up your cross and carry me. And even if it's like this small petty thing, I can do this with great love and devotion to the Lord. Like you have to like do something with your trash cans now. You can be bitter about that and be mad about that, or I'm going to take care of this because I love my neighbor and I love the Lord.
Mhm.
It's like, oh, that's so sappy.
Yeah, Scott.
What if the last thing you did before you died was, I'm going to take care of this because someone asked me to take care of this?
Mhm.
There are worse ways to go out. I mean,
That's fair.
it's stupid, but
No, but I'm coaching a volleyball team, CYO volleyball team, right? And it's reminding me, I coached for a lot of years and I've coached some CYO back like over the last few years here, but it's been a while since I've coached a team. And I'm reminded how much I enjoy coaching because of the lessons that those lessons that you get to and so we had a really hard fought game last night, won our game. And there was, I would say some like less than charitable chirps and things coming from like fans from the other team and things like that. And it was disappointing to see at an event like that. But I like pulled our girls aside and kind of had this conversation of like, you get to make a choice right now about how you're going to respond.
Yeah.
Like, what are you going to show them back? Right? Like they're frustrated, they're upset, they lost. Like you can go up there and be kind and sweet and caring and genuine with them when you say good game and like know that or you can like go up there and like rub it in somebody's face and be snarky, but which do you want to be? Like, and then I let them know that they didn't actually have that second option if I was going to be there. But bigger picture, it was like teaching them that idea of like, no, like don't let them upset you. Like you have an opportunity to like actually impact them in a more positive way. So I think that I say that because it just reminded me as you were talking here about like, we have those choices every day, right?
every day.
Like,
My
is
grandpa
it dumb?
told
Is
my-
it stupid? Is it frustrating? Yes. But I do have the chance to like do the right thing here and do the kind thing and do the like, the whole concept of killing them with kindness, right? Like it is of value.
My
Like
grandpa told my dad told me you can pick a fight with somebody every day of your life.
Yeah.
You can do that.
Mhm.
And like right now, I mean, post election right now, I mean, it's like all over the place and like blaming and biting and all of this stuff. And it's just like, folks, there's only one Lord of history. Only one person sits on the throne. I'm not saying those things don't matter, but like, how do you respond to these sorts of things? It matters. And also like in, a month, you'll probably settle down again. Like you'll get back to
Mhm.
living your life, but like the Lord is asking you to do these things right in front of you today. That's enough. That's enough. That if I'm being kind to a snotty neighbor and the Lord happens to show up when I'm being kind to my snotty neighbor or to the volleyball team, like what a beautiful way to go out.
Yeah.
What if Jesus walks in and you're like, your daughters are like, you just like giving it to the other team and making fun of them and giving them all this crap. Like, oh, there's Jesus. Yeah. I didn't mean it.
Yeah.
I think you did.
I think so too.
Yeah.
All right. You ready for some dumb questions?
Yeah, always. I'm always prepared with dumb questions. All right. Here's a question. And this is
I'm gonna get suited up.
Put your hood on.
I'm gonna get my hood on.
So this may be you need to like remove your like in your current assignment at Brute, like you are regularly preaching to the seminarians.
yes,
You're not doing near as much like, and even when you're out in the parishes, you're usually out doing an appeal of some sort. So this is much more of a like general question for priests, but for priests who are in an assignment where there are multiple priests and you know, you have a pastor or an associate, maybe you have deacons and stuff like that. Is there ever a discussion? Because like rarely, if you have multiple preachers, rarely are you going to preach every homily every weekend. Is there a discussion ever of like, hey, here's the theme we're going to kind of go along with, and like this is let's all team up on this, and like, I mean, does that make any sense? I'm just wondering sometimes, like
Some parishes do that. Like,
Yeah.
I have never been a part
Saint-
of that conversation.
Sorry,
though.
no. So Saint Luke, they a lot of times will have the same
come in and preach.
preacher come in and preach. He doesn't celebrate every mass, but he comes in and preaches.
Yes,
all
I've
of
also seen that. I think that's weird. Maybe that's just me. I know that's just maybe it's always really weird to me. I've seen that happen at St. Bartholomew before,
Mhm.
where we're like the first time I ever went down there, I couldn't understand. Like we were sitting there and it was time for the homily, and all of a sudden, like Father Clem just came walking in, came across the like.
But I think it's that very idea of like
Yeah,
the entire parish is
consistency,
getting the
yeah.
exact same message for that weekend.
At the same time, though, you would hope that you don't have your, say your pastor and your associate pastor giving wildly different messages to the people of God.
No,
You
but I
don't want
mean,
that.
if you're
But yeah, like I've never personally had that conversation. Of
Yeah.
like, guys, like it's election season. We're really going to hit on, being charitable and like whatever. And so this.
Well,
is
I'd
what
be
we're gonna-
curious. Like, I know it's like we've heard Father McCarthy talk about, like, he kind of gets on runs of like themes with his homilies, right?
Yeah.
Over a portion of time, he's going to. So, like, if you're doing that, wouldn't you like bring into the mix other preachers and other people to say, hey, this is kind of the theme I'm going with. And like, this is what, I don't know. I don't know that it always has to be the exact same, but like you said, like, you wouldn't want there to be wildly different, but two different people developing a yes, you're using the same scripture readings, but you could go very different directions.
Holy Spirit
That-
moves where the Holy
This whole
Spirit
podcast,
wills.
yeah, this whole podcast exists because of that, right? Like, if you chose these three readings independently, you could come up with, sometimes the theme is just there, right? It's like laid out, but sometimes they go in different directions. And
Yeah, I mean, and then especially at this time of year or something like you're not going to get any like wildly different scriptures.
Yeah.
We're talking about the end times. We're talking about getting ourselves ready and being prepared.
yeah,
Presumably, any preacher is going to latch on to that
Right.
thematic material. John 6 we had over the summer. Like, well, like I'm going to talk about the 10 Commandments. Like John 6, like bread of life discourse.
Yeah.
It's right here in front of you. But yeah, like the Spirit moves where the Spirit wills. And if a guy comes in and he's just like, I've taken this to prayer and this is on my heart right now, preach it. You never know how those seeds are going to fall.
so to that same idea, the guys that you have at the seminary, they're obviously undergrads. Are you guys teaching? Like, are you guys doing anything to teach like homiletics or preaching? Like, do you do anything to like help them start to learn those skills, or do they save that for?
So seminary,
Graduate
you
seminary.
do have classes in homiletics, but this year, so we have a house meeting every Wednesday. And this year we started with the seniors and working ourselves way down to the freshmen. They will look at the next Sunday's gospel and they will write a 300-word reflection for the community. So like, it's just like a little mini homily, like basically kind of like the length of a daily homily, but with the Sunday gospel.
Who's daily homily? Am I right?
Mhm.
Anyway.
Mine,
Yeah.
keep it short and sweet, like some long blade sticking to, that's neither here nor there, but that's what, so they're getting familiar with reading with the scriptures and praying with the
Good.
scriptures. And, this is my community. What have I noticed maybe that my community needs to hear? Like, it's important to like contextualize your audience. So I'm not going to give the same homily to the school kids that I'm going to go give over at, like, say, the nursing home or something.
Sure.
But yeah, just getting them comfortable with like speaking publicly about the word. That's an important thing.
That's good.
Do you have any funny Jesus jokes?
Funny Jesus jokes.
This probably means Scott has one he wants to tell.
Why don't you? Why don't you go first?
Well, there's that one about golfing. I think so. No, but I did see this this video of it was an image of Peter and Jesus walking on water, and Peter, falls into the water.
Doesn't go well for him.
Yeah. It said, "I'm drowning," and then there's a picture of Jesus that says, "Hi, I'm drowning. I'm Jesus."
Look at Jesus' dad joke.
Yeah.
Jesus dad joke.
Hi,
I don't know.
Hi, drowning.
I
I'm
don't know
Jesus.
any good Jesus jokes.
You remember Vine?
Yeah.
I loved Vine, and my favorite Vine I think of all time was like apostles sitting around a room, and somebody goes, "Hey Jesus, will you throw me that bottle of water?" And he picks it up and throws it across the room, and it flashes to the guy catching it, and it's a bottle of wine, and he goes, "Oh Jesus, you Jesus!" That's it. That's the whole 7-second Vine. It's really funny though. I really enjoyed it.
I just laughed and laughed. I mean, I get it. Because you also want to be careful of like
Blasphemy.
like crossing the line with Jesus humor. I think Jesus probably had a great sense of humor.
Yeah.
G.K. Chesterton talks about that in Orthodoxy, like his mirth.
I've seen pictures of him laughing before.
Yeah, there's he's a man like us. And all
But
things
isn't
but
there
sin.
a huge-
Guaranteed he was a laugher.
Wasn't there a big theological discourse between like the Dominicans and the Jesuits, I think, or about if Jesus laughed? The idea that like there's an argument out there. Oh man,
I think that we've gone deep in this
We
before,
have.
but I don't think this is the right guess to go deep in with.
No.
Because look at his face.
I'm
Of
just
course-
saying.
Well,
I mean, we've been into it. I
as
found
far
it.
as I'm concerned, like he laughed. He's a human being.
Yeah.
How could he not have?
I mean, the argument was if he was perfection, that experiencing more joy was impossible because he was
for
the
the
fullness
love
of-
of Christ.
Yeah.
This is why it's good to say it, Joe.
So
Anyway, all right. Wait, this is I
he
wrote.
was no, we
Jesus also wept.
we're jumping. How did
Maybe
they?
we should
how-
dig in a little further.
No, we're not going to dig into this. Also, I'm stupid, so
Oh gosh.
I'm gonna find this and send it to you, and then you just send us an audio recording. We'll drop it as like a separate podcast. You just rant.
just
Professional edition.
ranting about Jesus. He
Oh.
can't smile.
We should find random arguments like that and set up nights at the seminary, salad nights when we come by with salads, and where we just pit the seminarians against each other. This half you have to take this side. This half you take this side.
That could be fun.
It actually would be really fun.
The idea though of Jesus like walking around like a stoic, just like with this kind of hard face his whole life. That's not very attractive.
I don't think that's the argument. It's that he just was full.
People
Of,
would not be
he was
drawn,
just completely filled with joy. He couldn't experience more.
and
So
so
he was
he
just
and so
laughing
he
the whole time.
so that would have to be the other thing.
He's
He
at,
would
like,
look
the peak of it.
psychopath. Just walking around like the Joker or something.
Or like
Just,
Jesus.
I am the bread of life. Like, come on, people. Let's get real here.
We'll
Jesus
bring wedge
laughed.
salads. We'll call it the wedge.
Jesus,
That's a
had
great idea.
acne.
The wedge at the seminary.
Jesus laughed.
We
He
bring
had
the two
acne.
topics. They get 10 minutes to do research, and then we bring in, and then we have their three, you and Father Peter and Father McCarthy as judges, and you can just scream heresy if they get.
And I saw a scoreboard for sale on Facebook Marketplace, so maybe we bring that too.
Yes, and we hang it in that big room at the seminary.
Mhm.
Obviously,
None of this is going to happen.
We'll pray about it.
yeah, I'll discern it. Okay. This goes along with our conversation about the homily. How much flexibility does a priest have on the readings at Mass? So like how much flexibility do you have to like use a different set of readings on a certain day because you'd like to, or like on like when the gospel is read, do you have to read the exact gospel,
Yeah.
or Can you
like Sunday,
freestyle it,
like
maybe?
Sundays, solemnities, feast. Those are always going to have their readings. But then you get like, say on Saturday, you have like the Blessed Virgin Mary or something like that. There's like readings for that. Common of virgins, common of, pastors. Like you can get, there are different options. Obviously, weddings have different options for readings. Funerals have different options.
Just daily mass though.
For daily mass though,
Like daily mass, but you got a specific audience, so you decide. I was recently at a daily mass, specific audience. The priest decided to he just changed up the readings, and then in fact, instead of reading the gospel, did a first person. I'm not making this up. A first person recounting of a story from the gospel, from the perspective of the person having experienced it. So
as opposed to reading the gospel?
Yes.
Yeah, you can't do that.
They said the phrase, a telling of a story of the Gospel of John. Please be seated. I wrote the note, that word for word down in my notes app because I was like, I need to.
Yeah, no, that's a no-go. Yeah,
it was interesting, but.
Well,
yeah. Okay.
So it was a letter from the HMO telling you to put your trash cans up.
HMO.
What did I say?
HOA. HMO is because
HMO is like a health insurance thing. Yeah, no, you can't do that. There's actually a lot of freedom. But yes, stay in the lanes.
Okay.
But how much freedom? So you can do a
it also depends on the day. So there's votive days. There are masses for the evangelization of peoples. There's masses for harvest time. I mean, there's lots
you can
of
choose
things
from these things.
Yes,
but
so
you can't just on a day be like, hey, this is the group I'm talking to. I think they'd like this gospel. I'm just going to sub in this gospel reading. But you also can, because liturgy of the word doesn't actually affect the validity
within the confines of
right.
Okay, so I've got this group coming in. Maybe it's more pastoral that this group hears about. Okay, this group really needs some mercy in their life or something like that. There are masses, votive masses that you can say, yeah.
Okay.
But you also don't want to break up the lectionary cycle too much.
I agree. Yeah.
Because we're running through
the eschatology.
What is it? Ephesians or whatever right now. So you want to be careful breaking that up. There's a rhythm, there's a pattern here. So but yeah, the instance that you mentioned, yeah,
it was a wild one. I'll just put that out there. It was,
I would imagine.
I perked up for a second. Was like, hold on, what is this that we've said?
Be creative in your homily.
It was also a situation where there didn't seem to be a lot of people in the place I was that go to church a lot. So maybe that was part of it. I don't know. But when it was time for the gospel, I stood up, and I was the only person in this chapel that stood up. Probably 100 people. And then everyone was looking at me like I was crazy. And I was looking at them like, I promise you guys, I'm right in this scenario. And then Father said, everybody, please stand. And then everyone stood up.
Yeah,
And then he said, please be seated.
Yeah. If you want to be creative in the homily, but also within the confines of sound doctrine.
Yes.
You don't want to preach heresy.
I don't think that was happening. Yeah, it was just done in an interesting delivery. All right.
Do you have any questions for us?
It's my favorite.
Dumb questions for you guys?
Just questions in general.
They can be dumb.
They can't be dumb from you.
Serious. Sirs.
I don't know how to ask dumb questions. I don't even know where to begin to start with that. So this is Blackhawks, correct?
Mm-hmm.
The Chicago team.
It's Jersey Day today at Catholic Concepts.
Yep, Spirit Week.
Okay, because when I came in, I saw the Peyton Manning jersey, and then I saw you come up, and I'm like, what kind of operation is this?
Outdated Jersey Day.
Outdated Jersey Day.
Yeah.
I kind of like that.
Jeff don't have jerseys that fit anymore, so I just decided to go with my IU gear.
Well, IU's doing
Go Hoosiers.
IU's doing quite well.
Yes.
You know who's going to totally just ruin their season, right? It will be Purdue.
It will not.
Purdue has the most wins against top 5 teams as an unranked team more than any team in the country, which is a bizarre statistic.
This year,
You do know
Quite
how to
a
ask dumb
diff-
questions.
Yes, this is more of a dumb statement, but yeah.
Purdue
It started as a question.
Purdue is going to
Oh yeah,
beat
do you know
IU.
who?
Purdue's probably going to house IU.
Really? I think IU's going to hang 70 on
Of course
Purdue.
they're going to hang 70 on the Purdue.
And
is
not it will
dog
be a
water.
basketball score.
Purdue
But
is
yeah.
the HOA of college football. You just like, why do you even exist?
I just saw this joyful post the other day that said IU has a top 5 ranked football team before Purdue won a national title in basketball. And I just thought that was a really fun thing.
Did you see there was an Indiana girls high school basketball team that scored 100-0?
No way.
Yes, way.
Yes.
They need
Yes.
a vote of mass on mercy.
Yes.
It's not the 100 points. It's the 0 points.
Yeah. Yeah.
That seems unlikely.
Mm-hmm. Well, that's all the time we got.
That was a good ending.
Good way to end it.
Yeah.
Anything else?
No.
Okay.
Go Boilers.
Thanks for coming, Father.
Well, let's not.
It's a joy to have you.
Clip that out, please.
Don't clip that out. Keep that in.
Just bleep it.
Just name that the title of the podcast. Not 33rd Century Morning Time. Go Boilers.
Bye.
Bye, everyone.
100-0.
It's alright, cause I'm all set for. It's alright, cause I'm all set for. It's alright, cause I'm all set for Sunday.